Salutations and welcome to the Let's Eat video tutorial. In the box there are 69 ingredient cards, 21 recipe cards, 7 meal cards, 2 scoring bonus cards, 9 scoring cards, and 1 front cover card. To set up the game, you put the ingredients, recipe, and meal cards into separate piles. Then, you put a scoring card in front of each player and set the front cover card off to the side. You should also place the 2 scoring bonus cards face up somewhere in your playing area. These cards are taken by players when they end their game. Additionally, it is advised to use the back of your scoring card as a reference for what actions you are able to do on your turn, so you do not make any mistakes, have to continuously refer back to the rulebook, or have to replay parts of this video. Of course, you could always replay this video over and over again. Doing so is great for watch time metrics after all. Anyway, the first thing a player does in the game is draw 3 recipe cards and 4 ingredient cards. Afterwards, they take a meal card and put it face up in front of them. Sometimes, you may have to push the draw piles back because you don't have enough room, as shown here. While waiting for me to do that, and for the next clip to start, you may be asking, why do I have gloves on? Why do I have a long sleeve shirt on? One of the reasons was I was going for that blue-footed booby bird aesthetic. Who knows, maybe it'll start a trend. Doubt it though. Onwards to the next section of this tutorial, the costly action A. This action is simultaneously the most difficult and most prevalent action in the game. The first thing a player does is discard all their cards in their hand and put them into their respective discard piles. They then draw back up to 7, only drawing from the face down recipe and ingredient decks. After that, the player can choose to discard their meal card and replace it with the top card in the face down meal deck. So, why would you do this action? Well, most of the time a player is not going to get something that matches their meal card in the first hand that they draw. This action allows a player to have something that does match, so they can start doing other types of actions. Players do not, and often don't, do the second part of this action, but if used correctly, it can put a player ahead in the beginning of the game. The costly action B allows a player to look through the discarded meal cards and choose one to replace theirs with. This action is rarely taken, and if you're doing it, it probably means you messed up in a previous turn. No harm though, we all have that happen to us. Performing this action requires discarded meal cards to be present, so if there isn't any, then you can't take this action. In other words, rifling through the face down meal cards is a big no-no. You can't do that, even though it's really tempting. The last costly action, action C, is when a player decides their meal is finished. This requires 2 cards beneath each card at a minimum, except for the ingredients cards, because, they're at the bottom. Cards that don't meet the requirement are banished to the discard piles, then the player takes the applicable scoring bonus card. Now on to the fast actions, which you can do 2 of in your turn, if you don't do any costly actions, of course. The first way to do this is by drawing a card and playing a card. The second is by playing 2 cards, and the last is by drawing 2 cards. Doing these fast actions is how you start to put your meal together. Ideally, you would be doing these actions until you run out of cards and then performing action A, but like many things, it rarely goes that smoothly. If you have more than 7 cards in your hand, or if you're finished and chilling like a chinchilla, you discard your cards after or on your turn respectively to get down to either 7 if you're still playing, or 0 if you're not. It is also important to note that you don't have to, but you can discard your scoring bonus card. Doing so is a good strategy if you're shivering rather than chilling, and you want someone else to get frosty instead of you. If you're interested in this card game, please let us know at letseatcardgame@gmail.com.